This is one of the hardest things I've ever been through. I never imagined that I would lose one of my closest friends. This is just heartbreaking, and we should not be here right now. This should not be happening. I felt like the system and just the judicial system failed her, and they failed her friends and her family, because this could have been prevented.
You're watching The Crime Vault, where we unlock real cases, real motives, and real consequences without the rumors or the clickbait. Everything in this video is based on public information, police reports, media coverage, and allegations. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. We send our condolences and respect to the victims and their families, because for them, this isn't content, it's real life. If you're watching right now, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe so we can keep opening these files. Now, let's unlock today's case.
According to police, Charles was found lying in the parking lot of her apartment complex with several stab wounds last Thursday. She died during surgery. Police say the man responsible is her ex-boyfriend, Steven Heinrich Jr., who crashed his vehicle and set himself on fire. He died the following day. Charles filed a restraining order against Heinrich just last month.
On the surface, Stasy and Steven's relationship might have looked normal at first. Two young people connected through proximity and attraction. But not every relationship shows its danger in the beginning. Sometimes the shift happens slowly. According to early reports and discussions in the community, there were signs of intensity, arguments, and emotional volatility. Friends say Stasy had tried to distance herself multiple times. And unfortunately, like so many cases involving domestic violence, it's the moments after someone tries to leave that become the most dangerous. Let's be real. Breakups don't turn violent out of nowhere. There are always patterns, and often someone saw the signs.
The WBRZ investigative unit has obtained more documents showing the rocky relationship history that led to 2 deaths. According to Baton Rouge police, 28-year-old Steven Heinrich stabbed 23-year-old Stasy Charles to death before crashing his car and setting himself on fire. Court documents show Charles had tried to protect herself from Heinrich multiple times before her death. In a protective order request filed in October in family court, Charles says Heinrich was physically abusive, having checked these boxes, saying he punched, shoved, and threatened her life with a weapon. However, in her written description of the abuse, she does not mention violence, instead stating he was relentlessly harassing and stalking her and her family through social media.
Domestic violence rarely starts with physical attacks. Most stories begin with control, jealousy, isolation, and emotional manipulation. Reports show Stasy had previously filed or attempted to file for legal protection. There were battery accusations, prior arrests, and escalating behavior. According to police reports, Heinrich was arrested the week before on battery of a dating partner and bonded out for around $2,500. This part right here is chilling. She tried to get help before it was too late, and I need y'all to hear this clearly. When someone tries to leave and seek protection, that is the most dangerous moment in abusive relationships. Not before it, not during, after. This wasn't just relationship drama. This was a woman trying to survive something bigger than what people saw from the outside.
He created like any dating site, any type of thing. This man would create a page for my daughter.
It's behavior that Dominique Ramkaran and her family know well.
Everything that he did to my daughter, he was doing to the same girl.
Ramkaran lives in New York, where Heinrich is from. She says he harassed and stalked her daughter for months before he met Charles.
A year and a half, you harassed and stalked my daughter. A year and a half, you have tortured us.
In fact, it got so bad it led Ramkaran to file a civil suit against Heinrich when she says the police wouldn't take it seriously. According to her, he had been arrested in New York for violating a protective order several times.
The system failed both of these young ladies.
In Baton Rouge, Heinrich was never served with that initial protective order by Charles because officers couldn't find him. The matter was ultimately dismissed because Charles didn't show up to court. A month later, Heinrich was arrested for misdemeanor domestic abuse against Charles, and she was granted a protective order. He was issued a $2,500 bond by Commissioner Keena Kimball, and a week later stabbed Charles to death. Ramkaran says her death could have been prevented.
So how does a man that has a flipping assault, like a harassment, has probation, have warrants, were able to slip through the system, get a $2,500 bail, and was able to go back to the same young lady that he harassed and kill her?
On November 13th, everything escalated. Reports say Heinrich rammed Stacy's car, pulled her out, and stabbed her. Moments later, he crashed his own vehicle and set himself on fire in what appears to be a fatal self-inflicted act. He later died in the hospital. No trial, no interrogation, no courtroom justice. When an abuser dies before facing charges, families don't get closure. They get unanswered questions.
Balloons taking flight to honor the life of a woman lost to domestic violence. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Family and friends of Stasy Charles say a New Orleans woman who was killed in Baton Rouge last week are celebrating her life.
She was stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend. The investigative unit's best casualty has been following this story closely. She reports tonight from Gretna, where that memorial took place, and has new information on the circumstances that led up to her murder.
Michael, Sylvia, we're here in Gretna, which is near Charles's hometown of Harvey. There were dozens of people, they're still lingering here behind me, that came to celebrate her life, releasing purple balloons in her honor.
The aftermath of this case shook Baton Rouge and the Haitian-American community deeply. Because the suspect died shortly after the incident, the legal process was cut short. There would be no trial, no sentencing, and no testimony that might explain the motive. For families, that often feels like justice is unfinished. When there's no court case, people are left with grief and questions. Closure doesn't always come just because the immediate threat is gone. And here's the truth nobody says out loud. When abusers take themselves out, the damage isn't undone. It's just transferred to the survivors.
Macy Duplessis says she and Charles met while attending college together. She describes her as a very happy and bubbly person.
Just a beautiful soul and just someone that you always wanted to be around. Someone who had a beautiful smile and always made you smile, especially when you needed it most.
Charles's boss, Deidre Catalano, says she had just purchased her first car.
You would have never thought that she was going through all of this. She always kept her head up high. She did not let it get her down. She continued with pushing forward and her goals, going to school.
Now, her family and friends are left behind.
I hope you protect me and guard me. I'm glad to have you as my angel. I miss you. We love you.
Stacy's life mattered. Her story matters. And telling it with dignity helps ensure she's remembered as more than a tragedy. We continue to send condolences and respect to her family, loved ones, and community. Stories like hers remind us to take early signs seriously, support victims, and stop treating abusive behavior as normal.